Hello everyone, today is Thanksgiving, so I really want to wish you all a happy Thanksgiving. In celebration of today, I wanted to try out Popeyes Cajun Turkey for the first time. A couple of years ago, I tried out KFC's deep fried turkey, and to say the least, it wasn't my favorite. However, I have much higher hopes for Popeyes turkey because personally, I prefer Popeyes fried chicken over KFC's fried chicken any day, and I just think everything they do at Popeyes is a little bit better. I just pulled my turkey out of the refrigerator and it's been thawing in there for 3 days since it was frozen, and that's what you have to do before you heat it up. And it just comes right here in a Popeyes bag. Then there's some more packaging underneath, which I'll show you shortly. But just already with all this packaging, it feels really heavy. My dog is 17 pounds and I already think this is heavier. But of course, I'm sure the turkey itself is not going to be quite as heavy once we take off all the packaging and all the juices drip down into the tray as we heat it up. Right here is the packaging of the Cajun Spice turkey, and this is the front of it. I can already feel all the juices in here, so I definitely feel like a lot of this is water weight. Right here on the back, once again, you have the thawing instructions as well as the reheating instructions, and it's really quite heavy. I mean, you could honestly use this as a workout before you eat it and to burn off like all the calories you're gonna expend just eating this monster of a turkey. I mean, seriously, this has got some weight to it. The thing you need to know about this Popeyes turkey is the packaging has 2 layers, so I'm going to carefully cut through our first layer of packaging. So already you can see that right under here we have another layer of plastic packaging, so this orange outside is just like a protective cover in a way. And now right here we have our final shrink wrapping. However, I do think there might be a couple small leaks from somewhere. I don't know, maybe it's just the top. There's already the outside of this feels pretty greasy, so it's going to be a little challenging to transfer this into our roasting tray. Right now I'm just transferring it to our roasting tray, and it looks like there is a hole in the bottom. There's a whole bunch of juice leaked out, which is really sad. But now I'm just going to carefully open this up with some scissors. And it's actually a bit hard to do because it's shrink wrapped pretty well. But I will say, I feel like it's a little bit on the cheap side because I'm kind of disappointed that there's a hole in here. So I do wish this plastic packaging was a little bit thicker. I mean, look at how easy it is for me to cut through with scissors. It really is like thin as a tissue. I just took our turkey out of the bag and it looks like there's still a little bit of juice remaining, and there's also some nice pieces of collagen as well as fat mixed in here. I just transferred our turkey and I put it on top of this roasting rack, and already this smells really nice. I smell all the Cajun spices in there and it smells really pleasant and smoky. And the next step is just going to be to cover this whole behemoth in a little bit of aluminum foil, forming a tight seal. I just covered our entire pan in foil, and now I'm going to put it in a 375-degree oven for about an hour and a half, and then I'm going to take the foil off once more, and it's going to bake for another 30 minutes uncovered.
Later.
I just took our turkey out of the oven, so now I'm going to go ahead and peel off this foil. And look at that, you can definitely tell that this turkey is not golden brown yet, so now we're going to put it back in the oven for half an hour, and I have a feeling that's just going to crisp up the skin. I just took our turkey out of the oven and then I let it rest for 20 minutes. While the turkey was resting, I made this little pot of gravy, and I just used the instructions that were on the back of the turkey package. I will say the turkey isn't quite as golden brown or crispy as I would have liked it. It looks a little bit anemic and it smells slightly burnt. However, I do smell the Cajun spices still, which still seem pretty pleasant, but we're just going to have to find out how it tastes now. Despite all that I said earlier, I'm still looking forward to trying this turkey, so let's just dig in. I'm going to carve myself a piece. I'm going to start by just going for a little piece of the breast. And look at that, it definitely does look to be a little bit on the dry side. I'm going to go ahead and just start with this breast on its own. Obviously looks kind of dry. I don't think anybody just eats turkey like this plain, but let's just try it anyway so I can see if there's any sort of Cajun seasoning still on here. You know, honestly, that turkey isn't too bad. It's a little bit dry, but I have a feeling once I go deeper down inside the turkey, it's going to be more juicy, because obviously the breast is the most dry part, and the part I tasted was right next to the skin. And as far as the flavor goes, I say the quality of the turkey is about average. It's not anything incredible, but it's not bad either. And I do think the seasonings are pretty decent. It's very mild, obviously just because I took a piece of the meat, but it does have a pleasant smokiness to it. So now I'm gonna go ahead and give it a little dip in the drippings in the bottom of the pan. Now I'm feeling there's gonna be a lot more salt and flavor in there because all the drippings of the meat, just with all the fat and spices that ran off the meat as it was cooking, I have a feeling it's definitely gonna level up this turkey. That definitely ended up helping the dryness with the turkey. It's not so dry now, it's definitely more reasonable. However, I would still say the flavor isn't incredible. It just tastes overly salted and just not enough seasonings, you know? Like a really rich and flavorful turkey with a very thick rub of seasonings. But even before I baked it seemed like a thin rub of seasonings, and even the drippings to have seasoning in it. This tastes pretty mild, and it tastes very salty and a little bit fatty, and honestly a little bit burnt, which kind of makes sense because all the grease on the bottom I guess might have burned a bit as it was baking in the oven. But now I'm going to try a piece with the gravy. Now I'm going to go ahead and give our meat a little dip in the gravy. However, I don't have super high hopes for the gravy because it looks very light and pale. It doesn't look dark brown or rich, so I have a feeling it's just going to be kind of bland. You know, for me, the gravy just doesn't cut it. It's just a little bit on the watery side, but it is still very flavorful, but the flavor is just salt. You know, I really don't taste much rich, meaty flavor. I think the thing that makes most gravies really delicious are the giblets of the turkey, which just add a more earthy and umami flavor. To me, this just tastes like very salty and very thin, maybe with a mild flavor of grease and fat, but not really a pleasant one. And again, the spices are kind of lacking. All they told you to add in was a little bit of black pepper, so that's really what I'm tasting. Now I'm just gonna go for the leg, and this actually pulls off really easy, so it actually gives me a little bit more hope that it's gonna be tender. In fact, look at this, I just pulled the bone straight out. Now I'm gonna go ahead and try some of the leg meat as I said earlier. I'm gonna give it a little dip in our gravy because I already know I'm gonna like it better than without gravy, and actually it looks a lot more tender. I mean, just as I slid my fork into it, it was very tender. You know, the leg is definitely a little bit better. It's definitely more tender. It just breaks apart in your mouth as you chew it, but it is a little bit on the gamey side. In fact, it is gamier than most turkey I typically eat. But again, it is frozen turkey, so I feel like it's not necessarily the best quality turkey or the freshest turkey, but it definitely helps in terms of the flavor because I feel like the gaminess sort of brings out more of the umami flavor, and then when you eat it with the gravy, it's not all too bad. What I can confidently say is this is much better than a KFC turkey. I mean, that is the stuff of nightmares. I mean, I still have nightmares about it because it was that horrible, and I felt like I totally wasted my money. But with this Popeyes turkey, at least I can say it's edible. It may not be great, but I would say it is an okay turkey. The price of this turkey was $70, and that is when I went to the store and picked it up, and that was before tax was added on, but I still feel like that's a decent value. I mean, for what it is, I would expect this is pretty much tasting like a $70 turkey. I feel like if you want to taste your turkey, then you gotta spend more than $70, but for $70, I feel like this isn't too bad. This is a similar price as KFC in terms of the price, so again, this is going to be better value, obviously because it tastes better, and I don't know if it's just my imagination, but it seems a little bit larger too. My conclusion is I can't really recommend this turkey. I will say that if you really want an affordable turkey and that you can only spend $70 and that's your budget, this might be your only choice. But if you definitely want to have a large dinner with a lot of people, I would definitely recommend making your own turkey from scratch. It's going to be a lot more flavorful. I've made my own turkey in the past and it definitely turns out a lot tastier. I will say the one added bonus of this turkey is it's very easy to make along with its $70 price tag, but I'll say unless you're really wanting a fast and easy turkey that just tastes mediocre, don't really go for this. If you want a really high quality and memorable Thanksgiving dinner, go ahead and make yourself your own homemade turkey instead. Anyways, I really hope you all enjoyed the video. Make sure if you did, give it a like, and also make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.